Hello Minecrafters, KC here, and welcome to episode 16 of my Let's Play series for Minecraft Pocket Edition. For today I've started a new project. I've created a fairly large room here, and what I'm going to do is build a dome ceiling inside this room. And you can see where I've started there in that corner, and we'll just go down here and take a look at that and how that's working. So this room is 39 blocks across, so the diameter of this spherical dome will be 39, and took quite a while to carve this room out. And while I was doing that, I also took the time to mark the center lines. So this block here with the torch on it, this is the center of the room, and you can see again where I've built this area of the dome ceiling. So it's about a quarter complete. But also on each wall, I've marked the center line. And then I've marked the center lines on the floors as well. And that helps me as I build the dome to make sure that things are lining up properly. This room is still fairly dark. I will need to build some scaffolding and place some torches there on the walls of the dome. There's torches on the floor, but they really don't provide enough lighting to keep mobs from spawning in this room, and I really don't want that happening. So I will need to provide some additional lighting in this room. So today I'm going to begin building this next section of the wall here, the next quarter, and I have all the materials that I need for this because when I was creating this large room, I placed all those materials in these chests. So I have quite a bit of cobblestone and dirt and all of the other materials that I need. I use the dirt for the scaffolding. So I'm going to pick up where I left off, starting on this wall again and working in that direction. So when I say that the dome is or has a diameter of 39, that includes this wall here. So you can see where I've placed the cobblestone in that wall. And so I'm just going to, again, continue building that. But as I do that, I will be using this wall as part of the dome itself. So if you've never built a dome before, there are utilities online that help you determine the structure, and they really provide a layered view, and then you can just step through layer by layer. If you go search for Minecraft Sphere, you should find a few online utilities to help you with that. And again, you can just break it down layer by layer. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. It is easy to make mistakes, I find, and if you find those pretty quickly, then it's not too bad to make corrections. But if you get pretty far into the building process, it can be difficult to figure out where you've made a mistake and to try to correct that. So again, that's one of the reasons why I've placed these center lines around the room so that I can ensure that it's going to line up with the wall where I expect it to line up and really how I expect it to line up. So in this case, this is not lining up the way I expect, so I would come back then and I would just check this. And so again, I'm really comparing it to what I've done on this side. So I expect to have 4 here. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I come in 1, and I have 1, 2, 3. Then I have 2 and 1. So here's where I've made my mistake. So again, if you can catch it early enough, it's pretty easy to correct. And then once you get the first few layers down, it becomes a lot easier to know if you're making a mistake. So here what I need to do is place a couple of blocks in this direction. And I think I've made another mistake here. So you can see how it's easy to get in a situation where you're not exactly sure where you are. So what I should have done was place these blocks in this direction. And that seems to be working out because I expect there to be 4 blocks along this wall. Again, keeping in mind that the wall that's remaining there is actually going to be part of the dome. So this looks correct. And again, I can come back and I can compare that to this side and make sure that what I'm doing over here matches. And then next I would just repeat what I've done. So I'm just going to cover the layer that I've just built. So I now have 2 layers done. Now the next layer will come in slightly. So you can see here where that's out 1 block. And again, as you go through this process, you end up with quite a bit of open space. And I debated carving a dome out of this room instead of creating this giant square room. But in the end, I determined that was a little more difficult to do. And so what I may do is I may come back and fill this area in at some point, because again, I really don't want monsters spawning in that area. So I would next begin building that next level. And as you go up and you're building the dome, quite often you'll find, again, that you're making mistakes, but you really have to build a scaffolding system to help you get up and navigate around those upper areas. And it can become difficult. And as I said earlier, it seemed to me to be easier to build the dome in the square room than trying to carve it out of this existing area. And part of the reason for that is that, again, it's easy to make a mistake, but it's easier to come back and correct if you can just break the blocks that you have placed. So I'm going to start the next layer here. And again, just following the pattern really that I've done on the other side. I'll place those blocks. And then, if you notice again on the other side, this begins coming in here. And I build up a little bit. Odd visual thing happening there. But for the rest of this layer, it's really just going to be laying blocks on top of the ones that I've already done until I get back to the other side. So again, it's tedious work building a dome. There's quite a opportunity to make mistakes, but I think in the end it's worth it because you'll have a nice dome-shaped room. So now I'm up 3 levels, and again this is matching what's happening on the other side. And you can see how this is going to take shape. I will begin building the next layer up, which will match this side over here. And again, eventually I'm going to go through and build this portion of the dome, and then I'll come back into these other areas and do the same thing over there. Then what I think I'm going to do in this room is I think I might make this room be a mob grinder. So in future episodes, I will be building a mob grinder in this room. I plan to build a mob spawn room just below this and create an elevator mechanism for the mobs to rise up into this room, into the mob grinder. So that's my plans, and if you want to see that, stay tuned for future episodes. I look forward to those, and thank you for watching.